Today's lesson is 3.6, Intro to Programming. Okay, so you go on code.org to Unit 3, scroll down to Lesson 6, and start on number 2, Code Investigation. Okay, your screen should look like mine. Also, open up on Google Classroom 3.6, Intro to Programming. Make sure you go File, make a copy, save it in your Computer Science folder on your Google Drive. Okay, we're going to get started. Basically, you're going to look at each program and follow this directions, and you're going to do the modify. So I'll tell you, I'll kind of do it with you. So the very first one, you guys remember, this is the code. We're gonna actually click the run button and watch the code, and the code will not go on our user interface here. The code is actually printing down here in the debug console. I can speed it up by moving this slider, okay? But I want you guys to look at this code and try to figure out, some of it has quotes around it and some of it doesn't. So the number 100 doesn't, and that's because this type of data is an integer. Something that doesn't have a quote is an integer, like this number without a quote. If it has a quote, if something like these sentences have a quote, that kind of data is considered a string. Okay, S-T-R-I-N-G, string. So basically, we're going to go and answer the question. It says, why do you think some information is in quotes and some is not? Say, the info in quotes are strings. These are surrounded by quotes, and the number 100 without quotes is an integer. It's important for you guys to know that even if the number 100 had quotes around it, that would consider it to be a string as well. So anything that's inside quotes is like concrete. It will not change. So if it was the number 100 in quotes, like let's say this, if I had 100 minus 2 equals, and it was in quotes, the output of that would be the exact same. 100, it's concrete, minus 2 equals in the quotes. Okay, if it wasn't in quotes, 100 minus 2 equals, then my answer would be 98. Okay, that would be the output of those. So just know that anything in quotes is like concrete. It will not change. Let's do the modify. It says add 2 lines of code. One that displays a string, like we just talked about, and one that displays a number, so basically an integer. Paste a snip of your final challenge 2 program below. So I go here. I'm going to take the console.log and just drag it into 7. I'm going to drag it into 8. And I'm going to just change the message to Coach Woods. That is my string. And I don't need a string for this one, so I'll delete the quotes. And I'm just going to type my favorite number, which was 10. That was my football number. So you guys can reset and run if you'd like. You don't have to, but you guys can notice how it prints down here. In order to get your points for this part, this modify part, we need you to snip it. So go snip, new, and I only need the part that you guys have changed. So I'm going to copy and paste it, just like that. Okay, so we'll go on to challenge 3. What are the differences between console.log and set property, and be as specific as possible? So I'm going to 3 on code.org. It says, what are the differences? So let me start my history back over. What are the differences between console.log and set property? So we're going to click run. The only thing that happens on this program is starting my program and ending my program, which are the 2 purple ones, the console.log. The set property things didn't have, or they actually did happen, but it happened here in the user interface. Okay, so I'll reset it and you can run it again. And notice how these are changing. And it goes in order. And everything in code goes from top to bottom in order. Okay, it says, and basically the difference is the console.log, it's going to print the strings down in, or it's going to print, we'll call it text. We'll go back and answer this. So the console.log prints text in the, and we'll call this the debug console. Debug console. It says set property. Set property, if you guys will look, it says big button, background color, blue. Just like we had when we were doing our design review yesterday, if you had a button that you put in, usually on the right side there was a properties column. Same thing, how you change the text size or the colors of things or how wide or tall it was. Same thing you're doing here, except you're just changing it within the app. Okay, so we'll say set property changes the properties of the elements in the user interface. Okay, modify, add one console.log and one set property to this program and snip it. Say, so I'll go take a set property, and you can put this down here. I'll change the screen 1 background color to red. And I'm going to add a console.log that's going to print down at the bottom. Awesome. Okay. You guys can run it or not, but I'm going to click new. I'm going to snip it, copy, I'm going to paste. Okay, let's go to challenge 4. And let's click on challenge 4 on our program. It says, we're gonna click run and see what happens. The only thing that happened right here, actually I need to take my history back. If I click run, the really only thing that happens on this one is this right here. Nothing really changed up here, and I'll tell you why. This whole chunk right here is called an event handler, or it's called an on event. Okay, it's a function, and it's a big group. And these little commands in here only happen if something up here is true. So if the big button is clicked, which makes it true, then all these little commands will go. Otherwise, it won't run. So anything outside of that, these two console logs, this one and this one, they print it. Okay, so let's click this big button and watch what happens. It changed, and I got it set pretty quick. And I'm going to run it and click it again. But you guys can notice, if I click the button, the actual will change. Okay, so we'll answer the question. It says, how does the on event block work? It says, when the button is clicked, the commands inside the on event happen, period. It says, how do commands inside an on event run different from the commands on the outside? So the ones on the outside were this one and this one, and they ran automatically. The ones on the inside only ran if we did something that was make this true, like this parameters has to be true. So we click the button to make these happen. So we'll say the commands on the inside of the on event were the commands on the inside of the on event only happened if the button was clicked. The commands on the outside of the on event happened when the program was run. When the program ran. Okay. And the modify was add one command inside the on event and one command outside the on event, and then paste it. So I'll do that here. I'm going to set property inside, and I'm going to change the screen color, background color to red. And I'm going to put a console log on the outside that says cool. Okay, and I can reset and run. Click the button to see if it worked. It does work. I'm going to snip this. And I only need to really snip the stuff that I changed. So I'm going to go copy and paste. Okay, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to try to finish this. Challenge 5 is all we're going to do today. I'll post a video for the rest of it tomorrow. It says Challenge 5. Basically, see if you guys can do this on your own. I'll kind of do it with you. These ones, the gray ones that have the // these are called comments. They don't run in the program. They are just basically notes. Okay, and a play sound works just by choosing a sound and it'll play. Really not a great question there, but it says, how does a play sound block work? It plays the sound that is attached in the input. Okay, usually the sounds are in some kind of event handler. It says, how do the lines that start with a // run differently from others? We'll say these are just comments, and only the user, or only the programmer can see these. So those wouldn't change anything. These gray ones, the // don't change anything about it. All they do is give the programmer notes, comments about how to stay organized, basically, when you're programming. So the last thing was add a code so the dog button makes a sound. So I would do this. I would add my sound, and I'd click the down arrow, choose, search dog, click dog, and I've got to set it to true. And the other thing it wanted me to do, change the messages when each button is clicked. So I find the cat button clicked, and I go down to message label text. I want to change it to, I'll just put just cats, and find the dog one, the message label text to just dogs. And you guys, once you do this, you guys can run it and test it. Okay, so once you guys get that, we'll snip this one, just like so. And we'll put this one in. This might be a little bit big. That's okay, that's perfect. I'm gonna post a video tomorrow with challenge 6 and finishing these questions. But until then, make sure you guys watch this entire video. If you need to pause it at any point, feel free. And not very hard. If you have really hard questions, then email me. Otherwise, I think you guys should be able to do it. It's important for you guys to be able to know how to do this. So Monday, when we start actually programming our own app, you guys are able to program each type of button that goes from screen to screen, or you guys can make images move or do stuff like that. So good luck, guys. Make sure you get this turned in, not today, but tomorrow.